What if the way you use chat inside your Zoom meetings is actually causing your attendance to drop? Zoom has a chat that you should be using in your meetings with built-in tools that improve interaction and that actually keeps your participants engaged and present throughout the entire duration of your meetings or webinars, rather than having them leave early. And I'm going to show you the tools that are built into the chat that you may not know are already there. Hi there, I'm Betsy, and I've been on Zoom every day for years, so you don't have to waste your time figuring all this out on your own. And this video is part of my playlist, Zoom Mistakes That Cost You Clients, because sometimes it's not what you're saying. It's how your audience is engaging in your Zoom calls. As always, the timestamps are below, so use them if you need them. Okay, let's get started. So it all starts here inside your Zoom meeting. Now, this recording, I am coming to you as the host, but the chat right there looks the same to most participants. It looks pretty much like that. You're just going to see a few other tools inside here that only the host has. But pretty much the tools that I'm going to be showing you to improve interaction and engagement are the same for all. And all of you hosts out there, you want to keep your clients engaged. You want them to stay all the way to the end. Most times at the end is where they leave with this feeling of, I've got to come back to this person, or I want to purchase their products and services. So I'm going to tell you here, the mistake that you're making is you're not using the chat intentionally. All right. When that comes up on the screen there, they usually only know it's there if you ask them to. So use it intentionally. Don't ignore it, and don't only use it or refer to it when something goes wrong. Because the chat is really one of the most powerful tools you have inside here to create that interaction and connection. You want to connect with everyone. I always say that your goal is to make this Zoom meeting feel like you are in person, right? It's such a convenience that we are here on Zoom. Everyone is together in one room. It could be hundreds. And you can create this bond or connection using many of these built-in tools so that your clients stick around. And that's what this series of videos is all about. And in this video, stick with me as we go through using this chat. Now, keep in mind, if you're seeing some features today that maybe you don't have in yours, make sure that you have your settings set up correctly. And to do that, I made a checklist for you. So grab a copy of my Zoom Mastery Checklist. The link for that checklist is in the description for you. All right, so in this first example, I'm going to show you how to prompt the chat and ask them to type something in there. And what they may not know, which you're going to show them, because you're going to put in a sample inside the chat, is that they can put in text in their favorite color. They can bold it, they can italicize it, they can underline it. Because we don't want our people becoming passive or disengaging. And so this is one of the simplest ways, using text, which they have done most likely all over the internet or all over their computers and applications leading up to being on Zoom with you. We're going to keep them engaged because when they're engaged, they are actively listening. They will convert if you are selling them something, or they will be learning if you are teaching them something. So now the way the chat is structured is that at the top there, you see where it says everyone and it's lit up. It has like a blue border around it. Well, that indicates that the chat you're seeing here, everyone sees it, as opposed to the little plus sign next to it. When you click there, you will be prompted with the names of the people who are in the chat. So you can actually type a private chat to them. Now, depending on your settings, you can turn this off so that they can't private chat other people. They can only private chat you. You can also tell them to private chat maybe your moderator so that as the presenter, you don't have to keep track of what the private chats are. This is like direct messaging someone. So for this video, we'll concentrate on using the main chat that everyone sees. In the upper right corner where you see the three dots, when you click there, you have the option, and so does everyone else, to save the chat. But this is saved as a text file to your local computer, to their local computer too. So you can prompt them for that. Now keep in mind that they will only have that option if your settings are set that way. Lower down on there, it does offer an option for you to indicate who can each participant chat with. So in here, if you wanted them only to be able to to chat with you or the co-hosts, then you would want to make sure the check mark is there. If you click on no one or meeting group chat, then that's how you change the setting actually in the meeting. So that's good for flexibility. Next to that button in the top right corner is a little box with an arrow. Now, I'm on a Mac today recording this, so this one button might look similar, but maybe it's in the other corner on a Windows computer. No problem. It still does the same thing. When you click it, it pops out the chat. I'm going to do that for this recording so that our recording captures the chat in a wider screen. And you could certainly do this. Watch what happens. So when you pop the chat out, you now have a window that you can size with the little arrows on the side, and you can even move it around by putting your pointer in the title bar at the top and clicking and dragging. So if you had two computer monitors, you could move this to another computer monitor if you wanted to keep track of the chat. Okay, beautiful. So now we're going to focus our attention to the bottom of the chat. I'm going to size even the bottom like that. And at the bottom here where it says message everyone. And so this was where you, or maybe your moderator or your admin, someone helping you, I would recommend that you make them a co-host. And if you need help figuring out how to make someone a co-host, we have another video on our Zoom Playground channel on how to make a co-host. And we'll put the link to that video in the description for you. That's a good one. You want to make sure that you're able to make someone a co-host and help you out during a meeting so that you can run the presentation while someone else is maybe monitoring the chat and keeping those clients and participants and students engaged. Okay, so now that area at the bottom is where you type text. And after you type the text, if you want to enhance the look of the text, you're going to highlight the word or words that you want to highlight. And when you do so, a little pop-up toolbar appears where you can click B for bold. You can double click or click and drag over words to highlight them. I is for italics. And then if you want more options other than bold or italics, you can use this full toolbar here. You can see you still have your bold, italics, and underline, but in this case, you have a capital A with the colored bar underneath. And when you click there, you get the options to change the text color, or you could even highlight behind the text, background color or text color. And this full toolbar is turned on with the letter T at the bottom. That's for formatting. So once again, you click the letter T and you get the full toolbar. Furthermore, if you wanted to, you could select a word or words and use the two capital A's. There's a big A and a small a, and this lets you make the font larger. Now, there aren't any font sizes in here, but small, medium, and large. And so if you wanted to engage with your participants or your students, keep them engaged, you could certainly increase the font size. So now, if you wanted to, if you knew this ahead of time, you could actually turn on the color. You could put it in caps, you could pick large, so you can pick all of these before you type. And then when you click that little blue button in the bottom right corner, it actually has what looks like a little paper airplane. And when you click there, that's what actually puts your text in the chat thread. Everything you were typing before then, no one saw it until you hit the paper airplane. The next way to interact and engage is with something that's very familiar to people, and that's with emojis. So you see the next button in the toolbar at the bottom, the little smiley face. When you click there, you get this database of emojis. The first row are the most frequently used. So you're seeing my most frequently used emojis. And when you click one, it puts it there. And then when you click the paper airplane, it goes into the chat. This is something I use for games, gamification. Let's say I'm about to ask a question. I'm going to say true or false, and I want everyone to ring in with their answers. And so you could ask them to go into the emojis, pick an emoji that's going to stand out, like I love the flame, and say, get that ready, get set. Because when I ask you the question, I want you to ring in with your emoji. Well, it doesn't make sound, but when they hear the question, say true or false. Can you assign a co-host in a Zoom meeting with a basic or free Zoom account? Like that's some of the trivia that I use in my Zoom meetings where I'm teaching Zoom, like in my Zoom Business Academy. And when they click the paper airplane, I can see their emoji come up, and so can my moderator and my admin, and they'll see who put the emoji in first. And so that's a way of like ringing in. It makes it very engaging. People are listening intently. It's a lot of fun. Now, in addition to emojis, you can click on the next little button, which is the GIF. GIF. And this has a search option. So if you wanted to look for emojis where it had to do with happiness or smiling, you can type the word smile and press enter, and then it searches for it. And then that, when you hit the paper airplane, that's a GIF. So that is actually a moving type of graphic. No sound, but a moving type of graphic. Really, really effective. And so again, with my idea with the gamification, you could be asking questions, every 10, 15 minutes during your Zoom call. Have these planned. You can even make a slide that people are seeing on the screen, and it announces the next game. And you can say, please ring in with your favorite GIF or GIF. The next button over at the bottom is a little piece of paper. That's the icon looks like. And when you click there, it gives you options for picking a file, one of your files that you want to put into the chat. That file can be located on your local computer, or it can be in any one of these cloud storage platforms. Now, take note, if you're using any of these cloud-based storage platforms, the file that you're picking has to have share permissions turned on so that anyone with the link can view it. If it's a restricted file, they're not going to have permissions. So make sure you do that ahead of time. If you pick your computer, it brings up your local file finder. So this is a Mac, this is the Finder. If you're on a Windows computer, it'll be your File Explorer. Then on the side, probably no matter what your computer type is, you can locate the folder where you want to locate the file. And when you click it and click open in the bottom right corner, it puts that file name in the chat. Now it's not there to everyone to view until you click the paper airplane. And then that file is loaded into the chat. This is a great way to interact and engage. Give value. Give value to your clients and students and participants, and maybe even for those who stay to the end, say, we're going to be giving you, there'll be a great giveaway, great checklist, a great guide, and those who stay to the end will get it. And then you put that in the chat. Now, when they hover their pointer, their mouse pointer over what you've put in the chat, they will have the option to download it. So this little down pointing arrow will appear on their end. And then it just ends up on their local computer in their Zoom folder, which is located inside Documents, no matter if it's Windows or Mac. And then finally, the last button down there is for screenshots. And this is for people to take a screenshot of what they're looking at. When you click it, they can click and drag. After they click and drag over what they want to take a screenshot of, and then they click capture. And that appears in their chat as well. And when you click the paper airplane, it is displayed in the chat for everyone to see. This is great if you need them to take a screenshot for you so that you can see what they're looking at. It won't be a tool that will be used that often, at least in my experience. Being on Zoom every day for years, it's not a tool that I see used more as frequently as the other formatting tools, but it's very helpful for people to show you what they're seeing on their end. Now, in the upper toolbar, there is a link button, and this is great for people to interact in your chat and tell them, hey, if you'd like to do some networking, you can put the link to where everyone can connect with you. And when they click that button, they'll get a little pop-up, and they can put the text that they want to appear in the top box, and then the bottom box is the actual link. Now, this link could be copied and pasted in here, or it can be typed manually, but it must be typed without any typos. And when they, or you could be doing this too, click save, the link appears as the text. They don't see the link, they just see the text. And now the text is called hyperlinked. It's that special text that when you click on it, it goes directly to that website. And this is what I would do if I wanted people to connect with me here on the Zoom Playground YouTube channel. Now, the buttons that you see in the rest of the toolbar, there are formatting buttons where once you type the text, you can highlight it. And this is, again, before you put it in there, you've got different formatting styles. You've got heading 1, you've got heading 2, you have heading 3, and then finally paragraph. So these are collections of different styles. It makes it bold, it makes it a bigger font, all in one. Those are great to explore with. You can give them the rules of the game if you needed to. And if you want your chat to be multiple lines, you can do one of two things. You can use the next button, which says bulleted list. And when you click there and then press enter, you get another bulleted dot. You have bulleted list or you have numbered list. So you can do one or the other. When you press enter and you don't have any more bullets to do, you can hit backspace on your keyboard. And now when you press enter, you don't have any more bullets if you want to show multiple lines. When you click the paper airplane, then that goes into the chat. The remaining buttons are not as much for engagement as they are for formatting. You can insert a quote. And when you click that quote button, you can see how it gives it this visual in the text if you wanted to visually make it look different just by hitting one button. The other two buttons in there, which are increase indent or decrease indent, is going to be when you're typing a paragraph of text. Like in this case, if you had a paragraph of text and you wanted to increase the indent, you would select the text and then click the button with the arrow pointing to the right with the lines, and then that indents it. So it moves it over. Each time you click it, it moves it over. And the decrease indent button is the opposite. So you can see there how the text is formatted in a way, and it really makes it stand out as you're looking up and down in the chat. And so this makes people stay with you. They are looking, they're engaged, and they stay to the end. That's our goal here. Finally, the last couple of buttons have to do, if you're using HTML code, there is an option for you to use that. And then finally, if you're using these styles, like in this case, like if I turned all of this to bold, if I wanted it to go back to plain, I could select it and use that last button, which looks like an eraser, and it says clear style. And that's what it does. It takes the bold off. So if for some reason you're highlighting it and you're like, I can't get this to turn off, you can use the eraser. So now you can see this is one of the most overlooked Zoom mistakes that can cost you clients. If you want to create Zoom calls that actually connect, engage, and convert, make sure to like and subscribe and check out the rest of the playlist, Zoom Mistakes That Cost You Clients. And I will see you in the next video.